Hello, everybody, and happy Friday. Welcome to my channel. I call this LTTV. For those of y'all that have known me forever, please make sure that you subscribe to the YouTube channel and pass this on to your friends. Today is the beginning of my Successful Author series, and I'm going to be interviewing lots of amazing, successful authors who can give you insight into how to expand your brand and how to get more people to understand your message and read your book. Today, I am with a beautiful, amazing entrepreneur. Her name is Charlyn Fitzgerald, and on Facebook, she is Charlyn Shelton Mentor. And I'm going to read to y'all what she says on Facebook, which is so phenomenal and amazing. She says that I am the catalyst. I love that. The catalyst. It's very definitive for women who are hungry for divine transformation. And they want to be creators of outrageous wealth, right? I want some outrageous wealth, not just regular wealth. And here's the best part though. They want to fulfill their soul's missions. And so that is incredible. And I want you to talk about, first of all, we're gonna get into LinkedIn. We're gonna get into some really juicy stuff and dig into your expertise. But I just want to know a little bit about the human side and how you chose that mission.
Well, that's great. Thanks for asking, Latasha. I, as my kids tell me, I'm older than dirt. Which just means I have a lot more experience, right?
Yes.
So what everybody judges as our outside appearances, nobody knows what the journey's been, right? To be able to do that. And so we've all had our own struggles and ups and downs. And having been an entrepreneur almost 40 years, my passion is to reach back to all the others that have helped me all along the way and be able to do that. So there's a world of opportunity for any woman in the world. They don't always know there's a hand that can reach back and help them. So I'm really passionate about helping women to help other women. Building exceptional women so they can build exceptional women is a ripple effect that we all need throughout the world. You know, there's enough men on those top platforms that we need to knock a few aside and get our own up there.
You sparked a vision just now. You said knock a few out of the way. Like I could see women just like, hey, we're here.
Exactly. You know, and at one point in my life, I was told, you know, nobody wants a middle-aged housewife with 3 kids. You know, don't let the door hit you in the ass. And I went, I am never going to let somebody do that to somebody else again. Right?
Amen. I love how you expanded it and you didn't just say, I'm not going to let that happen to me again.
No.
No, I'm going to make it my mission to empower other women so it doesn't happen to anyone again.
To anyone. Yeah. So that's where my heart is.
I love it. Love it. We are in such alignment because my heart is also in the same place for women, female writers in my case. And one of the things that I've been personally expanding for myself is moving on to different platforms, learning different platforms, and really trying to figure out how to monetize these platforms because there is a strategy to it. There is a system that works. And so I want you to talk about LinkedIn because I know that is your expertise.
Yeah, that's my mission to teach people. They don't realize. So at one point in my life, I was a real estate broker. And it was during the time that LinkedIn had come out. And I was also, I've been a professional speaker for a long time. But my gift is curiosity. I'm always wanting to learn more and do more. I'm very creative. And I was at a National Speakers Association conference, and they had a young kid from Stanford training on LinkedIn. and all the dots connected for me. But I stood up in front of 1,200 people and I said, how many of you would pay me to interpret what he just said?
Hey.
Because of the gap. So what's really important for all of your audience to understand, and I teach it in a creative way so that they can understand it. So we all know we don't own any piece of real estate on any social media platform, right?
Amen.
We don't own our profiles. We don't own our anything, although that's how we create the money. So if you were to think of LinkedIn as $1 million piece of real estate, would that change the way you participated in it? Do you think?
Absolutely. For sure.
Yeah. Yeah. So here's what I would like for you and others to understand is it has a global reach. So for instance, in the US alone, there are 2.6 million self-published books a year. So you're going to drown, right, in the masses. But what if you decided to make your LinkedIn profile the best motion picture of the year for your topic and you yourself as your brand? What if you became the director of your book, per se, and understood what you could do? And I'll share with you a story. I have a very dear friend that he decided not to swim upstream. He decided when he wrote his book, he was an analytical data processor, computer nerd, as far apart as in our brains, but we made a really good partnership. And he wrote motivational personal development coaching programs. But his books, he took outside of the US. So instead of becoming a well-known brand, a small fish in a big pond, he became a big fish in a small pond. So LinkedIn gives you that opportunity. You could, like in Toronto, his first book sold 4 million copies.
Whoa.
So LinkedIn can give you that opportunity. LinkedIn has 200 countries worldwide and 1 billion with a B people. So your opportunity to expand is just learning the how, but you have to claim that piece of real estate. You have to maximize your profile. You don't have to be everything to everyone, but as a self-published author, you have a message. And I feel like people that write books have messages to share with the world because they're called to do that, right?
Amen.
And instead of being intimidated by, quote, competition, you can use LinkedIn as a collaboration.
I love that. Collaboration, real estate. I'm loving your words, lady.
Yeah, that way it makes sense, right?
Perfect sense. Very visual. Very visual.
Yeah. So everybody has a different mission or a purpose for writing their books. But whatever that is, however big or however small, LinkedIn in 2014 was bought by Microsoft for $26 billion with a B dollars. Why do you think that is, Latasha? Why do you think somebody would write a check to LinkedIn owners for $26 billion 10 years ago?
It's an asset. Must be an asset.
Okay, but what do you think the asset is?
It's probably worth multiple billion.
Right, but let's pick that apart a little bit. So let's compare TikTok to LinkedIn. Everybody's hot about TikTok and influencers and things like that. Who owns TikTok?
Oh, I don't know that.
See, that's important. Those are things that are important. TikTok is owned by China. Oh. So everything you put on TikTok all your database, all your information, everything is you're feeding China, right?
Okay.
That information about you. That's why they do that. That's why Congress is trying to eliminate TikTok. You
Okay.
have to you have to go higher and think bigger.
Bigger. Yeah.
Put your CEO hat on, right? So if I'm a CEO and my product is my book, let's now look at LinkedIn. Microsoft spent $26 billion for it. And then you go, well, why would they do that? Well, it's a database. It's the largest business database in the world. So that should now start go ding, 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 ding.
Yeah.
If that's the largest platform and I'm looking to expand my book, right? Then I can find the right people to have the right conversations in the largest business platform in the world. And what you want to do is claim as much real estate as possible. So once you set up your profile properly, your personal profile is your $1 million piece of real estate because everything goes from there and you only get one.
Okay.
But you have access now to 1 billion business professionals, right?
Wow.
The other thing most people, especially our authors, don't realize is you can have as many company pages as you want. So you can develop a company page for every book that you write. So there you're creating and capturing more real estate. And again, all of that is SEO because Microsoft owns it. Does that make sense?
That makes perfect sense. That's my mind is like poof multiple times. Like what? Paradigm shift, major paradigm shift. When you said database,
and people just don't understand that. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. And especially new entrepreneurs, right? They don't, and age. So at 68 years old, I've seen, this is really going to age me, but I'm so old that when I owned a travel agency, we used to pay $5 to send a fax. We debated on whether to have an email, right? So wow. I'm old.
Well, you're seasoned. You're well preserved.
What I have, right, is wisdom to be able to share, to be able to say, this works and you don't have to pay anything to do it. So as an entrepreneur, we need to think smarter. We need to work smarter. We need to be able to learn the hows of, as a publisher and as an author, how can I get what I want to get where I'm going? Does that make sense?
I love it. That makes perfect sense.
Yeah.
My brain is going ding, 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 ding. Real estate. I'm thinking of Monopoly now. I'm like, okay, how can I get a piece of that pie?
That's it. And how many pieces of Monopoly can I claim, right? And then you want to put the hotels on them, and then you want it so that every time somebody lands on it, you're going to collect an income, right?
Yes.
That's what it is. It's just, it's not about trying to be to the masses. It's claiming everything you possibly can, using all the different tools there are. And it's just like when you build a house or when you start a movie. If you're the director of your Oscar-winning movie, you have to have a script, don't you?
Absolutely.
You have to have a supporting staff, don't you?
Absolutely.
No movie is without supporting actors and actresses. It's about who your target audience is. I think the hardest thing for authors, self-employed people, is understanding there's one bullseye in a target, isn't there?
Only one.
We try to be everything to everybody, and that isn't what you want to do. You want to hit your bullseye because that's where you cash the checks. And And then once you've defined that bullseye, it's like my friend John knew who he wanted to reach. And interestingly, in the US, we are caught up in especially a lot of nasty, negative, all kinds of things, right?
Yeah.
Where if you go outside of the US, there are literally companies like Mars Candy Bars, of all things. There are international companies that have directors of spirituality.
Ooh.
So how do you find those? You find those in LinkedIn. And then he could then start doing trainings, teaching, speaking, and selling his book, right?
Wow.
To be able to do that. So I just want to open people's minds to possibilities. They don't understand. And we, like me, every shiny object, ding, 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 right? To be able to do that. But again, LinkedIn is owned by a US company. The reason that people spend $26 billion for it is it's a database. Do you know what somebody does when they do set up a profile? What can you find on a profile?
What their background is, what their expertise is, their career history, what their interests are, mostly things about their profession.
Well, there's two things that are even more important than that you can't get on any other site. Do you fill out your contact info box?
On LinkedIn? Yes.
And what's there?
Phone number.
Phone numbers, emails, and websites.
And website.
Right? So you don't have to pay for leads. You don't have to spend time throwing shit against the wall and hoping it sticks. Right?
Oh, I see what you're saying. Okay. That's the database. So now my mind is going ding, 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 yellow pages, white pages. That's what my brain is thinking right now.
And you know what they have after you've set everything up properly? They have a little search box up there. You can type in that search box for who your ideal client is, or let's go with something really creative like how many companies do you think you could go in and do a training on whatever you've written?
Oh, wow.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
Everybody's heard this. You get rich in a niche, right?
Yes. And that was going to be one of my questions too, because when authors come to me with their ideas, they're like, I have so many ideas. I don't know what to write about. And we talk about target audience, and there's so much mystery and confusion around, well, how do I know? Like, for example, for me, I have written a total of 8 books. 2 of them were anthologies with other speakers and teachers. But when I first started writing, my first book was a memoir. My second book was about parenting. My third book was about self-care. My fourth book was about teaching. My fifth book was The Moneymaker, because I finally discovered that really the only thing people wanted to learn from me was self-publishing. That's literally what they wanted me to talk about all day. So I was like, man, that should have been my first book.
But, again, I don't think anything is a mistake. I think it's a coincidence that we just learned from. Here's what I just heard. You have 8 pieces of real estate you haven't claimed on company pages.
Exactly.
So think about this. If you claim your real estate and you do things right, you've eliminated 95% of your competition, because they don't know, especially authors. Authors never think about it, right?
Right.
Because first of all, they think too limited. They keep their boundaries too small.
Yep.
And whatever, I'm of the belief, and I apologize if this is not the correct thing to say, but I'm a very spiritually grounded person. So I don't believe that whatever message they write is wrong. I think whatever they write about is a message that the world needs. So, so it's not that you just found your bullseye, but there's lots of other rings around the target, right?
Right.
With
Ooh,
your with
I love
your other book.
I
If
love
you if you look at a bullseye, you want to talk to that bullseye, but that doesn't mean you don't expand and use your other talents. For instance, because I've been an entrepreneur, I have different buckets of income streams, right? I have my parent company, and then I have DBAs, right?
Yep.
All of that goes into being a prosperity alchemist. I show people how to transform money into whatever they're doing, right? You've got different talents that all bring passion to your heart. Your bullseye is helping authors self-publish because we need those messages and we need them, right?
Yeah.
We need them.
Wow. So what would you say to an author who's just starting and they're like, I don't know about my niche. What is a niche? What would you say for them to start? Where's step one for them?
My first question when I'm doing any kind of coaching is, what would you do if money were no object?
Ooh.
That will then give you the answer, because that keeps you going through the hard days.
Oh, wow.
The hardest thing for people to do is they take the decision from their mind instead of from their heart. And if you make your choices from your heart, it gets you going through your tough days. There isn't an entrepreneur in the world that hasn't failed, hasn't wanted to quit, hasn't wanted to give up.
Every day. Every day.
I get it. And even after all this time, you still have days, but for instance, for an author to be able to, it's about, what would I do if money were no object? Because then what brings them the most. That's the catalyst to joy.
Wow.
The other thing that people, especially women, because we are such nurturers, right? That we want to take care of everybody else. And flipping that around and saying there's nothing wrong with earning money, right? That's key. You have to own that, but you have to know what you would do if money were no object. Does that make sense?
That makes perfect sense, because that tells us where the true passion is, what the why is. Okay. Thank you for that. That was an excellent question. Life is about asking better questions.
Yeah.
I love that. So what would you do if money were not an issue?
Right? That's your end zone. And then you work your way back.
Wow.
You have to know your end zone. So for me, I have an end zone. Whether it's LinkedIn, I have an end zone. Whether it's helping women and doing the coaching for women that I do, that's an end zone. But what keeps me going every day is that mission in my heart, right? What I would do if money were no object. So my mission is with women, but my cause, I think people need to have a cause. My cause is, I would love to build a semi and put showers and washing machines in it for homeless, because most of them are veterans. Yeah. And I think mission first, money follows, but money is a good thing, because the more money you have, the more good you can do.
Absolutely.
So
the more you can plant seeds in different places, and you can afford to donate to causes that are close to your heart. I'm all about schools. I really want schools that teach entrepreneurship, schools that teach kids that it's okay for them to start a lemonade stand when they're 8 years old. It's okay for them to write a book if they want to. It's okay for them to start speaking in 5th grade or 6th grade. Like, I think we start talking about careers way too late. And it's just like,
we're not at all, which is even
right.
sad, right? It's
Woo!
even sadder with that. So, you know, there are platforms where somebody like you, for instance, that you've written books, but your passion and purpose is to help these kids. You know, you can go in and do both. You can go into schools, they have budgets for speakers, right?
Right.
And meetings and those kind of, but those budgets are all over the world. I have a love for travel. The first business I had was travel. I owned a travel agency for 20 years because I love to travel. So no matter what I do, I keep that piece of love in all of my businesses, because then it's a win-win, right? So getting that catalyst to joy is different. Whatever, we have one magical life. And I believe authors are kind of like mini missionaries. And their mission is to share their message, right? Wow. So using LinkedIn to share your message is just the tool for the cause or the mission or the purpose. Does that make sense?
Yeah, that makes perfect sense. Wow. So who, if you were to pick a couple of mentors throughout your life, who would be your mentors that guided you to your success?
I started my first business when I was only 29 years old. And I did not have a college degree. I had been an unwed mother on welfare at 17. I'd had everybody tell me I would never have a voice. I would never be successful. You know, and think about it. 50 years ago in 1973, it was, you know, not popular to be an unwed mother on welfare.
Very different.
So what I did is always invest in a coach. I have always invested. Instead of investing in a college degree, I have had a coach or a mentor, and I still do. So much like what you are kind of like a lighthouse, right? Yeah. And you're a lighthouse for these people so that they then, the ripple effect, so you know, I've had Tony Robbins as a coach. I've had Jack Canfield as a coach. I went through 2 years of platinum coaching with Jack. You know, I always have a coach because you need to invest in yourself. That's my belief. So I've been very blessed to have very many, but I always invest. You got to open your checkbook to be able to grow. I just don't have student loans. I invest in people that help me be a better entrepreneur.
I love that. That's beautiful. Love it. Yeah, the thing that I learned when I was a teacher, teaching full-time, raising my kids, I learned that, wow, I am working really hard to give these kids a really good life. And what is left for me? This was about 2015 when I was looking around, literally looking to my right, looking to my left, like, when these kids grow up, what do I have? I did own real estate in California. I did own cars and different things, but I was literally like, what's my legacy?
That's the best question of all, isn't it?
Yeah, to myself and to the future generations of people, you know, and I had helped other people raise their kids through the school system and, you know, took them on travel. I took so many kids on trips to travel. And then at the end of the day, I was like, I haven't even traveled for myself. I haven't done much of anything. And then that's when I started writing books and I found my purpose.
Yeah. You know, so what if just these authors put together a book tour where they wanted to travel and wrote it off as a business expense?
Hey, you're lighting up my brain right now. Hey, you're giving me homework.
Right? right?
Wow.
So, and you could find bookstore owners in LinkedIn
Yes. Oh my goodness.
because they've told you everything about them, right? It's just about thinking bigger, and
Yes.
especially with women, because we're used to putting everybody else first and us last, right?
Wow.
It's a different way to think, and that's what lights my fire, is to see other people light their fires, because the more we can help people send their messages out, the more good there is. One of my first mentor was Wayne Dyer,
Ooh, I love him.
right?
Mm.
And that was the message that I took away when I went to his trainings, is always share your mission and the money will follow. You know, he walked away from everything at the age of 65 except the shirt on his back and moved to Maui. He sold everything, gave it all away, donated it all. And that's when I first met him. And I thought, that's really in my belief, whether it's in a Bible or whatever, I believe we're all one race. But in my learning and teachings is there's unlimited possibilities. And so in my belief, then I went, okay, if that's the belief, then how do I learn how to do that in LinkedIn? Because I'm a business owner. I learned how to do that really well. And then I learned how to get to the bullseye of, it's not about how many followers I have. So I do things differently, right? I don't say go get, because in my opinion, and it's worth 2 cents and you can give me the change, understanding that TikTok is owned by China, right? And the Senate is trying to close it, then I've lost everything. So all these young 20-somethings that are making millions of dollars are instantly cut off from their income stream,
Ooh.
right? LinkedIn, that's never going to happen.
Whoa, that's powerful.
Yeah.
Wow.
So, but people don't know what they don't know.
Right, right. And that's why investing in mentorship, investing in coaching,
Yes.
investing in high-level mastermind groups, all of these opportunities outside the traditional educational system, it's so important to get yourself in the room with people.
Yes, you always
more. They know more. They're doing more. Wow. Woo.
You always pay to play, because you want to pay for somebody that's further down the road than you, right? You want to pay, and I went through Jack's coaching back in 2006,
Wow.
but it was a significant investment. And to be honest with you, I took out a loan to do it. But I knew if you much like you do, you're giving them the shortcut. You've got the wisdom, you've got the talent, you've got the knowledge to give them the faster way to the cash.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
So you invest in yourself
Mm-hmm.
by being in the room with somebody that's done what you want to do.
Amen.
Yeah.
Woo. What is your definition of success or winning? How do you know when someone is winning, when they're really successful? Or even if you just look at it for yourself, how do you define it for yourself?
Great question, because I think that especially younger kids have the wrong definition of success.
Mm-hmm.
I think a lot of entrepreneurs, when they start out, think that success is money, and that's what they measure. I think winning or success is a magical life. And for me, mine is freedom to do whatever I want, whenever I want, with whoever I want, however I want, unlimited. So I got spoiled being in the travel industry
Yeah.
because I know what it's like to fly first class and stay in hotels. So you will never see me camping. I have to have a flush toilet and a shower.
Yes. Yes.
Right?
Same here. Hurrah.
So it's different for everybody, but I think that's where you have to rein them in and say, what is success for you?
Okay.
Because again, what would you do if money were no object? Is step one. And then let's see how we can create a vision of what is it that you want. For me, it's not the Ferrari and it's not the mansion, but it doesn't mean I don't want to be a multimillionaire to do what I want. So the short answer is freedom for me.
Freedom. Same thing for me.
Yeah.
Freedom. I mean, I was very happy as a history teacher / English teacher. I did that for 20 years. Very happy. But I did feel like I was in a box.
Yeah.
Literally, in the classroom, it's literally a box. And so I always felt this urge to be global and to go talk to many people in many different languages. And I never had an idea. I never had that. Well, I can't say I never had. 2015 I had some epiphanies. I had some things happen health-wise where
Isn't it funny how that happens?
I was like, girl, it's now or never. Hello, get your passport. Hello, start getting on stage, get your books out. Like all these things started happening because I'm like, ooh, life is not promised. Oh,
isn't that the truth? If we would live every day as if it's our last, then you're always prepared, right? You plan for the future, but you live every day as if it's your last. And I think God knocks you upside the head and makes you pause long enough to figure that out. For me, it took a couple of times, right? I had carried that subconsciously, and understanding that 85% of our brain is subconscious, right?
Yeah.
So I, as a 17-year-old mother on welfare, automatically kicked into survival mode, right?
Yeah.
What you don't realize is how long you carry that without realizing it. And then it was a life-changing incident, and because it was nothing for me to work 80 hours a week.
Yeah.
Because I was survive, right?
Yeah. Gotta get it done. Gotta go.
Or somebody else's opinion of what success looked like, right? So I carried all that trauma. I hate to even use that word, but anyway, understanding that, I have a choice, and the world is unlimited. God said faith precedes the miracles, but he guarantees the miracles, right?
Yes.
So then I stepped out. I was 47 before I hit that point, but then I stepped out and I went, okay, what is my magical life? And then I'd work backwards. Same thing, right?
So this is where I want to land the plane right here, because you said 40s and I'm 48, feeling great. And I had my epiphany. I was like 42 when I started having these epiphanies. And it's interesting because even my mom started running marathons in her 40s. So I want to talk about the latter half. So for those people that are in their 20s, literally 2 of my daughters are in their 20s and one of them is in their teens. So I want them to hear this, and I want all the young people to hear this. How juicy and spicy has your life been in the latter half?
Oh, it gets better and better and better. I call it, so my first act was 1 to 30. My second act was 30 to 60. And I'll be 69 in a couple of months. So my third act is going to be the best. Yeah. And I'll let you land with this. It's all about your focus. It's all about your thoughts. It's all about your dreams, because there is nothing anywhere you can find in anything that is God-given, spirit-given, universe-given, higher power given, that says there's a limit.
Ooh.
So when I had my epiphany at 47, I sold my travel agency. I divorced. I packed up everything I had and took off. Didn't know where I was going or what I was doing. I was just done. But what I did know, the gift, and I think every woman in the world has had something hard that they've gone through. And I knew that was still there and I'd survived it. So I knew I could take care of myself, right? Every woman in the world has God's DNA running in their blood. They just forget because everybody tells them what they can't do, right? So I was single 15 years. I didn't find the love of my life until I was 60. We got married at 62. And I have created my magical life. Will I ever retire? No, because I do what brings me joy. So it's better. Third act is the best.
I love that. I love how you posted that. For those of y'all that are watching, especially women, I'm just going to say she has a really, really handsome husband and they look super happy. Congratulations. That is a blessing to have a partner. That's a blessing.
It is. It is. And for all of you, male or female, that have been divorced and said, I'm never getting married again, because that was my motto. Instead, say, I'm never settling again.
Oh, you see these words? You're giving us so many juicy words that.
And that's the difference. So the funny story, I was in a very serious car accident and an 83-year-old man ran a red light. I was crushed. I was even the passenger, but that worst case scenario brought the best thing to my life, which was my husband. So there's always a silver lining.
Yeah. Wow. All right. Well, I'm going to release you because I know you have a busy day.
Yeah.
So do I. And so we are going to go ahead and close out. Your mission is huge. Your heart is amazing.
I'm happy to help.
What you do is phenomenal. I just thank you so much for your time. I'm honored and grateful to be able to learn at your feet. I'm so grateful. How can people get a hold of you? Do you have I know you have some kind of a program for people to join. How do they start their journey with you?
Well, actually, LinkedIn is the best. Connect with me there. And the funny story why Facebook is in a different name is it won't let you change your name after you've had the account for so long. So
wow.
This is my married name. LinkedIn is the best way to contact me. And, even if somebody wants to hop on a quick call and we can brainstorm about their bullseye, I'm happy to do that.
Awesome. Thank you so much.
You're welcome. Have a fabulous weekend.
You too. And bye, everybody. Thank you so much for watching. See you in the next episode.